It's time. We got to break down the game. What's going on when Michigan and Ohio State tangle this week in the Big House? It's going to be a phenomenal game, folks. Phenomenal game. I think that the strength for each of these teams lies with Ohio State in their offense and with Michigan in their defense. So let's break down that matchup first, and let's start with the Ohio State offense. One of the most potent offenses in all of college football. This is a passing-based offense. The Ohio State offense on base downs, 1st and 10, 2nd and 6, they're throwing the ball over 60% of the time. Doesn't mean that they can't run with TreVeyon Henderson, but this is a passing offense first, and they are explosive in the passing game. It's not dink and dunk. They've got tremendous skill. I think that the timing of their quarterback, C.J. Stroud, is excellent, and they do as good a job as any in college football of attacking the safeties, the third level of the defense for the opposition. Let's take a look at some of the examples of how they're explosive and why they're so successful on the field. So this is a play last week. They bring their back out of the backfield. Look at how it draws the attention of the far safety. Now they're going to work against the near side safety with Olave running a little bit of a read route. Looks how he keeps it kind of skinny right up the field, and because of the timing from Stroud, he's able to get that completion. Again, here's the motion. You're bringing some of the attention of the defense away, creating more space in the middle of the field for Olave to work. There's Stroud throwing the ball on time with great protection. Notice the protection is fantastic. Let's move on later in this game and see another example. Okay, here they're going to use play action pass. They're going to do it twice on the same play. First to Garrett Wilson on this little jet sweep motion, then TreVeyon Henderson. That's going to draw the safeties up, and you're allowing Chris Olave to work deep down the field, and he gets behind the defense, and it's a touchdown. But again, the timing and the protection in the backfield is terrific. Play action number 1 on the jet sweep. Number 2 to TreVeyon Henderson. Here's Stroud. He's perfectly on time. He throws the ball with nobody around him, and it's a big play for Ohio State. Now, where are the areas where Ohio State tends to struggle? Well, first of all, they don't. When they do, they will struggle with things like this: the depth in the secondary, taking away some of those shots down the field, and then pressure with the front 7. Not many teams have been able to do this, but there was a couple of examples, like particularly against Nebraska, when they weren't great or sharp in the passing game, even though Jackson Smith and Jigba really got loose. Here's a great example. There's the little token fake, but look at the depth of the secondary with their eyes all over Chris Olave trying to run that deep search route. Then you've got a stunt up front. They miss it with their center, and you've got pressure on C.J. Stroud. He ends up just throwing it kind of wildly, and it's an interception. So you take a look at this again. So what did Nebraska do? Well, the first thing that they do is that they keep their safeties back, and then they were able to present some pressure on C.J. Stroud. When you're able to do that, folks, you can slow them down a bit. Why? Because this is a passing offense first. Okay, so how does that manifest this week against Michigan? Well, let's take a look at Michigan's defense. Okay, this defense led by Aiden Hutchinson is a pressure defense. They get after the quarterback with 2 of the best edge rushers in the entire sport, Aiden Hutchinson and David Ojabo. How does that manifest? What does it look like on the field? Well, this is what it looks like. Okay, when you take a look at what they were able to do against Michigan State, first of all, you've got eyes in the backfield, and watch how the secondary is not going to allow a quick, easy throw, which is going to allow Aiden Hutchinson to win. Okay, so there's the pass rush, nowhere to throw with the football. They're running man coverage back here, and now Hutchinson is able to get home in the back end. But it's not just Hutchinson, it's also Ojabo. So let's take a look at the next play. And it's a similar style deal. First of all, they're both stood up, and again, there's nowhere to throw the football. Everybody is covered in that initial beat, and boom, Ojabo is there. Strip sack. Ojabo, as well as anybody in the country, as good as anybody in the country, is getting after the football when he's there. He beats the left tackle. Again, nowhere to throw, and then there's pressure in the backfield. They have to present that pressure on C.J. Stroud, or else Stroud will eat him alive. So those 2 guys, Aiden Hutchinson and David Ojabo, they've got to have the game of their life. Okay, folks, the pressure of that defense is all on these 2 players to present pressure on C.J. Stroud. Now, when they struggle, what typically happens? Well, let's take a look at what they do struggle with. They'll struggle with a couple of things: tempo from the offense when they start to go fast, and misdirection. At times, they'll get caught in man defense, and their eye discipline is not great. What does that look like? Well, let's take a look at the tempo. First of all, you saw this against Michigan State, but also against Nebraska. Look at how they're not lined up. Nebraska lined up quickly, and they want to snap the football. Now Michigan is all over the place, and they're misaligned. There's 4 players over 3 at the top, and Adrian Martinez runs easily for a touchdown. Hutchinson's got to take the back. Martinez is wide open for the touchdown. Again, because of the tempo, watch, everyone's confused. Now you've got what? Misalignment. You've got Martinez giving a fake. He's going to read Hutchinson. You've got 4 players over 3. You're misaligned, and it's an easy touchdown for the opposition. Martinez walks into the end zone. Okay, so that's tempo. Let's take a look at misdirection. And again, Nebraska did this well in the second half, even though Michigan won this game. You got man coverage right here on the outside. Watch it. This is a little rodeo route. The eye discipline's not there. He's looking on this side. Rodeo route comes out the back end, so it stops in the backfield. It goes back out. That's misdirection, and it's a touchdown for Nebraska. Again, watch this. Man coverage. Focus on the eyes of the defensive back. As the wide receiver stops, the eyes are not there. He doesn't know where his man is, and boom, he's out the backside. Those are the areas that Michigan struggles with. I fully expect that Ohio State will use tempo and they'll use misdirection, so we'll see if the Michigan defense has been able to correct some of those issues. So there we go. Ohio State offense, can you present pressure on C.J. Stroud? Michigan, they're good. They're suited to do that. Can they do it Saturday? We'll wait and see. That Michigan defense, they've got to get pressure or else Stroud will pick them apart. Their struggle happens when the offense is moving fast and they use misdirection. There's no doubt Ohio State will use some of that at some point. All right, let's move on to the next matchup now. Okay, we talked about one side. Now it's Michigan offense. Okay, Michigan offense, they've improved, okay, and the passing game is what really needed to improve. We know they can run. I'm not going to talk about what they're strong at. I'm going to talk about where they've adjusted and how they've developed over the year. They've improved in the passing game of late because McNamara has been able to throw the ball over the middle. I think he's better throwing the ball over the middle than he is outside of the numbers. That's what the film suggests. That's certainly what the case was against Michigan State. And then he's been able to develop a couple of threats on the outside. This isn't even including Donovan Edwards, who went off last week in their ball game against Maryland. But Andrell Anthony and Eric All are 2 guys that have developed and become targets on the outside. Let's take a look at how that has manifested for Michigan. First of all, this is a 3rd down. They're backed up close to their own end zone, and here's Anthony, and he finds this space over the middle. So watch as McNamara throws it on time. Boom. That is a beautiful throw, on time, on the money, and now you see the speed from the freshman wide receiver as he's able to go the distance. So that's a threat being developed. Let's move on now to Eric All. This is them scheming for Eric All. 3 wide receivers all going to run a layered crossing route in order to get Eric All open because it's man coverage. So they pick his defender. Watch how open he is late against Penn State. This ended up being the winning score. So when you've got a threat like Eric All at tight end, you've got a scheme to get him open. That's exactly what they did. One more look at this play as you take a look at the 3 wide receivers at the top. One more look at this play as we take a look at the 3 wide receivers at the top. See Eric all alone, all 3 layered crossing routes. This ball is supposed to go to him. There's nobody else in the progression. McNamara sees him, bang, ball's out on time and on target, and you're able to let him run down the field. So that's them developing their targets. So they're better in the passing game. They've needed to be. Now, Ohio State on defense, folks, they've needed to improve their overall defense from what we saw early in the season against Oregon. So we've seen Michigan now. Offensively, they can run it. They can run it very well. Where have they needed to improve? The passing game. Ohio State needed to improve after giving up way too many rushing yards against Oregon. They had to develop young players, and they had to change some of their schematics. So how have they done that? Well, they've done both of those things, and let's take a look how. Okay, if you take a look at what they've been able to do, here's a young player in JT Tuimoloau. Okay, he's one of the top recruits in the country. You're starting to see him dominate at times. This is against Indiana. It's just a pure one-on-one. I show that to tell you, like, okay, they're starting to get some of this contribution from a young player. So now you've developed young talent, but what have they done in the scheme, the schematics? Let's take a look at the next play. Here's the next play, and rather than running man coverage like they did against Oregon with 1 single safety, you've got 2 safeties and everybody's eyes on the backfield. Why? Because they're in zone coverage. Now what you can do is you can sink underneath routes because your eyes are in the backfield, and it forces tougher throws on the quarterback. There's another young player, Denzel Burke. He's able to pick it off and go to the end zone. So again, 2 high safeties, zone coverage with eyes on the backfield. So now you can sink into some of those passing lanes and make it more difficult on the quarterback and you can create turnovers, which they do right here, and it's a pick six. Another thing that they were able to do is they were able to play with two safeties and continue to stop the run. This is, again, a new scheme. Let's go to the next play. This scheme right here against Penn State, two safeties back, but now Penn State's going to run the ball. You've got to insert yourself into the defensive front. That's what Ronnie Hickman's able to do. Look at that lane. It's right there, but now it's closed down because he's reacting better. They're playing faster because of that scheme. Two safeties back. Penn State should be able to run the ball, and there's a lane, but not when you're running a safety up into that spot. And that safety is only there because of recognition and the fact that he really understands the scheme. They've simplified it a little bit, and they're much better overall on the defensive side. Folks, this is going to be an outstanding game. I think both of these teams are outstanding. Obviously, Ohio State offensively is maybe second to none. That matchup is going to be unbelievable. Can they pressure C.J. Stroud? And then on that opposite side, will Ohio State stop the run game of Michigan? And then do they know where some of those threats are that have started to emerge during the course of the year, like Andrell Anthony and Eric All? It should be absolutely bonkers. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here, College Football on Fox.